Hi everyone. We are back now with WME's exhibits that they attach to the motion for the continued sealing. So I've just done the video on the actual motion itself, and I wanted to go back to it actually before I go into the exhibits, because I just run through the exhibits. Only 3 pages. It's very short, but a lot of it's redacted. But I just want to go back to the letter itself. And here on page 3 here, there's a whole portion about the fact that the redacted communications involve Patrick Whitell, who was in WME's, Endeavour's then executive chairman. And they go on about, well, he's had zero involvement in this litigation. He's not deposed. He's not submitted a declaration. He's not listed on the parties' initial disclosures, and is not mentioned in either the parties' pleadings or the parties' summary judgment papers. And then they go on to say, given the minimal relevance of the redacted material and WME's privacy concerns, unsealing these communications will merely further the media-driven nature. So it's all about, well, it's not all about, but a big argument they make is, well, there's this guy who has not consented to be part of this in any way, shape, or form. He's not been made relevant by either party. He's not been listed as someone with knowledge. He's not been deposed, etc., etc., etc. And then you go into the actual messages, and the first lot are between Warren Zavala, who is Blake Lively's talent agent, and Danny Greenberg, who is Justin Baldoni's talent agent, and then you've got Patrick Whitell. And then the first messages in blue here, these are from Danny Greenberg. They're redacted, apart from can discuss tomorrow. And then you get to Patrick Whitell's message, and it's not redacted. Danny, let's you and I discuss tomorrow. So after all of that, about, well, it's not fair on him to have his messages put out in the public because, you know, he never wanted to be part of this and he's not been brought into it in any way, shape, or form. And then they leave his messages unredacted. And then the next page, the next message is Danny Greenberg, who liked Danny, let's you and I discuss tomorrow. And it's like, why are you not redacting his messages then? And why are you redacting Danny Greenberg's messages? He was brought into this. He was named as a person with relevant information and knowledge, and he was deposed. So let's go to the next thread. That's Exhibit A. This is Exhibit B. This is between Danny Greenberg and Patrick Whitell. Danny Greenberg, redacted. Patrick Whitell, great news. Great job navigating. Again, not redacted. Danny Greenberg, thank you. So this one doesn't need redacting, apparently. Thank you. I wish I had more PW action. I have no idea what that is. That's on me. I'll find it. And then Patrick Whitell, let's do it. So I'm questioning that a little bit. And then we have Exhibit C, which is, I think, the interesting one. So this is between Danny Greenberg and Justin Baldoni. To give context, so this is on the 30th of December 2023, because it's before the meeting in the penthouse. Okay, so we have a message from Danny Greenberg, which again, now this doesn't need redacting. Just checking in to see how the week went. Here to talk if you need me for anything. And then Justin writes back, hey man, had a really, really bad week. She had the audacity to email me directly and invite me to a meeting at her house alone if I choose. She's refused a body double, which now Sony and Todd have to jump in to make sure that happens because that's just setting me up for a trap. Although she's making me have one. She's rejected all my storyboards for the sex scenes. So he has to get involved because she's trying to keep both of our clothes on for the big love scene, which is just ridiculous if you know the book. The whole thing is just a gigantic clusterfuck. And yet I'm doing my best to stay positive, although it's been very draining on me and time consuming over this week to be dealing with an actress who is rewriting the writer and director. I've gone through the whole script. I'm giving her a 95% of what she wants for peace, but this is just a brutal experience. Okay. And then Danny Greenberg's reply is redacted. And I can't, I don't agree with the reasoning why it should be redacted. Justin Baldwin, we're all going to go into her house on Thursday, as that's where she has said she wants the meeting to take place. She also doesn't want Jamie on set, which we're fighting back on. I wonder why that is, because I know Jenny Slate didn't want him on set, and then Alex Sachs didn't want him on set. But I haven't read so far that Blake Lively didn't want him on set. She just raised her issues with him. Danny Greenberg. Good. You should. There has to be a line. I'll talk with Todd about that, and Warren too if I need to. And then Justin says, not right now, but feel free to check in with Todd next week. I'm doing my best to just stay positive and give her as many wins as possible to just finish this thing, but it's going to be tough at some point. Warren needs to know that she's destroying her reputation. And he highlights the obvious. She was already destroying her reputation before any smear campaign, allegedly, 8 months later. And then Justin says, where we will need the most help is during the edit, because I'm not going to get everything she wants, and I foresee that being a big issue. I won't even have time to barely show anyone the movie before I test it. That's what happens when you push the shoot to January. Danny Greenberg liked that message. Then he says something, but it's redacted. And then Justin loved that message, his redacted one. And that's the end of that. So they're quite interesting. I think they're revealing, and whilst I get it, like this is, Justin Baldoni is kind of speaking to his agent, who may or may not be personally, may or may not have personal knowledge. Don't know if he went to the set, even if he did, what did he see? But it is the fact that he is, sharing it contemporaneously. But again, like I say, as I said in my other video with the actual motion, there are two problems I have with this. Is firstly, Blake Lively has been able to put into her complaint things that Justin Baldoni is allegedly said to have done to Isabella Ferrer, to Jenny Slate, to Colleen Hoover, despite the fact that they, Isabella Ferrer Blake Lively wasn't even on set at the time Isabella Ferrer was shooting her scenes. So that's third-hand knowledge. Colleen Hoover, I think, only visited the set 4 times, maybe not even that many times, but insinuations and aspersions are being put on communications. And then the second thing I have is WME do say, well, these are just statements made by Baldoni and Heath, which, we responded to them, but we didn't investigate them. So we have no knowledge. But again, I will remind everyone that Justin Baldoni was let go, was dropped from WME based on no more than Blake Lively statements, which they did not investigate. They just dropped him. And then we have Ari Emanuel, the recording that Colonel Kurtz got hold of. The recording of Ari Emanuel, he states as a fact, he said, oh yeah, no, they did do those things. They are bad people. They did those things. He was stating as fact. He was not saying, well, Blake Lively told me and I've no reason to disbelieve her. So, I'm quite frustrated with WME. You cannot sit there and say, well, we don't want all of this, made public, because You know, it's just third-party statements, and we've got no idea whether there's any truth to it because we have no personal knowledge. But at the same time, your CEO is going around doing interviews stating as fact that all this shit that Blake Lively says happened. And Justin Baldoni is an awful person. So, you know. All right, guys. I will be back with another video soon.